Live from the Pathway Studios in Johnston proper. You are live from the path.
And you're listening to Live from the Path. We're coming to you from the Pathway Studios here in Johnston proper. No, that's not what we agreed to.
Yeah, it is. We're doing it.
That's not what we agreed to.
Live from the path.
It's not a good start, man. It's not a good start.
No. Now, the good thing is you can't tell just because the show starts bad, because it does most of the time. It could still go either way.
I suppose that's a very
There can be a redemption. Here's what we got going on the show tonight. Allie Crummy is in the studio. She has a beautiful voice, of which Mike is totally not representing well.
What?
I don't know what that was. It sounded like someone got a hold of an owl and put it in a microwave.
No, me and Allie are like competing doorbells at the Walmart.
No, you're like when Dollar Tree starts making their own dairy products. That's you.
Okay, so anyway,
Like a buffalo.
Anyway, Allie's going to rescue the show after we ruin it. So, also, I saw this article. Did you guys see that article I sent you
Yes.
earlier today?
Yeah.
There was. Hold on. I'm going
ridiculous.
to pull it up. We're going to hit it up directly. Somebody created a video game, and you're basically Jesus. You get to be Jesus in the video game.
Realistic fight with Satan.
What?
Now, here's what I don't understand. Like, now I'll be honest. I kind of want to play it because I want to
Of
see
course.
what they do. Because, like, really, what is this battle with Satan going to look like? Hey, I'll give you the kings of the earth. Don't tempt me.
Exactly.
10 Holy Spirit points.
No.
Like, what is?
I mean, could
You
you
leveled up salvation.
play a game where Jesus loses, though? I mean, it would feel weird.
Yeah, there's,
Like,
there's some bad
you
stuff.
know.
Somebody tweeted out that. Oh, sorry. I'll let you read the article.
Okay, yeah. Well, shoot, it's thinking about it now.
Hold on, I will handle this with a musical interlude.
No, you do not need it. Before you start, let me tell you that is not necessary.
Yeah.
It is not needed or wanted.
I've already pulled the string to the motor, Boova. It's just getting ready to cut the tree.
It's just starting no matter what we do. It just- oh,
Okay,
no.
here we
I
go.
was gonna say, turn it on now.
The I Am Jesus Christ video game causes stir.
Amazing.
A yet-to-be-launched New Testament-inspired video game that lets gamers play as Jesus Christ is causing a stir. A trailer for I Am Jesus Christ, is the name of the game, has been grabbing plenty of attention. Posted to YouTube by Polish game developer Playway, the trailer indicates that I Am Jesus Christ includes miracle working, crucifixion, and resurrection storylines. The trailer has been viewed more than 330,000 times since it was posted to YouTube on December 6th.
So do you try not to get crucified or something?
I don't...
Oh man.
That would seem like you're not Jesus Christ, but
Yeah.
Right. There was a that I saw post that crucifixion level is completely unwinnable. I was like, oh man.
Wait a minute.
Ooh.
It can't be lost.
Right,
True.
yeah, right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It was a funny joke.
No,
I would like to kind of watch it.
I'm upset.
Well, maybe they'll have one of those where you can watch someone playing the game on YouTube.
This is what I'm saying.
Without playing.
I do kind of want to see it. Like, I am curious.
Watch a walkthrough
it
or
said-
gameplay, Dan?
Have you ever done that? I have not.
Yes, I have, but the way
I
you
hear about
described it was the greatest thing I've heard in a while.
Yeah.
You should have one of those things where you can just watch people play the game.
on the YouTube channel.
Can you pull up the tweeter?
Yeah, but don't
People
people
tweet out some Insta posts.
like people do it like they try to do it as fast as they can, right? So I'd like to
Yes,
see
yeah,
the
you can
guy
go watch a walkthrough or a playthrough.
beat the life of Jesus in 30 minutes or less.
Yeah.
So-
I mean, yes, someone will be trying to set a world record for fastest time beating I Am Jesus.
That's going to be
Christ.
great. So it says I Am Jesus Christ is a realistic simulator game inspired by stories from the New Testament of the Bible, explains a description on the video game distribution site Steam. Check if you can perform all famous miracles from the Bible like Jesus Christ. It is a simulation game and you can try to save the world as he did. Are you ready to fight with Satan in the desert? Exorcising demons and curing sick people? Or calm the storm in the sea? Now, let me ask you this question. What event do you hope is in there?
Ooh.
You're like, hey man, if you're going to do this,
I mean, you got to do some demon interaction.
I think it'd be hysterical if you have to do a Sermon on the Mount, but you actually have to get the right
Do the
beatitudes correctly, and you
In the
have
right
to do,
order?
Yeah, in the right order. You have to do all of the individual scripture correctly,
Yeah.
or it messes up your popularity points.
The guy in the
minus 5
cave
speech.
who's cutting himself with rocks
Yes.
and
Yes.
stuff, that would be
that's my favorite.
video
Yeah,
game
that's what I'm
like.
thinking.
That would be awesome.
I feel like you have to try to avoid the other disciples to go pray alone. And every time that you didn't find a good enough hiding spot, then you have to start over again.
I like
You
it.
gotta stay awake.
Because Peter keeps following you around, and you're like, I'm off to pray by myself.
Or remember that
You have
time?
to keep waking up Peter and John.
Remember that time where they were looking for him, and he like had he had escaped to go out. Like they were trying to find him to go heal more people, and instead he wanted to move on to the next town.
Yeah.
Like that'd be kind of fun. Like you had to keep dodging him. You're hiding behind rocks and cactuses and stuff.
Now, does this include like the Catholic Bible too? Because there's interesting miracles in there. You can include. Maybe that's the extras at the end or something.
That's the apocryphal level. That's
Gnostic
great.
level.
What about when he snuck into the festival? Right, like he told everybody he wasn't going to go, and then he showed up anyway. And so like he got to sneak into the Passover festival.
Do you think you start as a baby and you have to level up? And like you have to go to the
not much
to the
about those
synagogue
levels,
and you're
though.
Hang out with the old
coming
dudes
and
at
trying
the
to tell you
temple.
stop teaching.
There's like 2 insta warps where you warp to 12 years old,
Yeah.
you interact in the temple, and then you warp to 30.
And you hear,
Level
you're
30.
so wise.
That'd be hysterical if you have to run around doing carpentry until level 30, and then you start doing
Yeah, right.
actual
Then
game-
you start.
The game takes 6 months. You're sitting there
your
doing
tutorial
build
is on
tables
carpentry.
day in and day out all the time. And then somewhere in level 14 or whatever, Joseph just magically goes away. You're like, I don't know. Where'd that go?
Dad?
Yeah.
Papa?
And then you get to choose in the settings whether your brothers and sisters are actually your brothers and sisters or whether they're your cousins because they're Catholic. So you got.
All right. I was kind of against this going into this,
I'm
but now I'm
just saying.
totally all for this game.
If there's a bonus level where you teleport in here and then there's like 5 ladies in a lineup, like you got to pick them out on who touched the hem of your garment.
I felt the power leave me. So
Okay.
your joystick rumbles.
Maybe my problem is I'm thinking this like as an action game, and it's more like a Sims, right?
Yeah,
it's-
probably.
Yeah, I think it's a Jesus simulation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Except he's-
However, look at on the article there is a graphic of the fight with Satan. I don't know if it's an actual graphic from the game or something someone came up with, put on their Twitter, but it looks like it's a legitimate action game in which you were legitimately fighting a realistic fight with Satan. is what it says.
like a Diablo looking thing.
Yes,
like it's
exactly.
very
It's the red devil looking thing, and it's big and horn, and good stuff. And
Glowing
Yeah.
eye.
Okay. So it says let's see.
I hope Revelation's an unlockable level.
The game's subject matter has caused plenty of buzz on social media.
I got it. I like it.
You're-
We could
you're
weep
writing letters
over
to
it.
the church.
There will be weeping.
Yes,
because
exactly.
Yeah.
You hear some trumpets in the background. It's like, oh no, it's my time.
You want to be funny? It's,
Seals have been broken.
It's time. It's half the time.
it's you.
You have to press O over and over again to break the seal.
It would be great if you get to choose when you get to Revelation. You can play figurative or literal mode.
Some guy gets stuck waiting 1,000 years. He can't do anything.
Oh, this is great.
I feel like we should be calling Playway and letting them know that we have some notes on how this could be way better.
It says, let's see, tweets. I Am Jesus Christ has also received criticism.
Oh, really?
Too far, Playway. Thumbs down, wrote one commenter on Playway's Facebook page in response to the trailer.
John Piper.
I'm not sure. It is certainly John Piper.
Too far.
Yeah. Him and Paul Washer have already published 10 articles on it.
Should Christians play this game?
Actually, that did make me think, though. Is it this is the time of year where plenty of people are Jesus, right?
Right, yes.
I mean, there's plenty of people dressing up as Jesus all over the place, and they seem to feel like this is appropriate. We don't have a problem with that.
Why is it further for playing the video game?
Some people have a problem.
Oh my! What do you do? How about all movies where Jesus is depicted? Same thing.
Well, the arguments I don't think make a lot of sense. You know, like it's like a graven image argument sort of thing, but it's like he appeared in the flesh, so
Yeah,
it's different than making an image of God the Father.
I would agree. As a matter of fact, I think the language in Genesis 1 actually points like the root of is actually an idol, like images as people as idols. So like as a human, we're implicitly that.
Sure.
Yeah,
And we're made
right
in
on.
its image.
That's right.
Yeah.
Let's see. No details of the game's release date have been posted, although the description on Steam says that it is coming soon.
That sounds like an
awesome.
Easter release.
Wait, is this a joke?
Yeah.
Is that an elaborate joke?
Yes, it has to
He
be.
will return
John.
soon.
Yes,
Is that what
he
it
will
is?
return soon. I am Christ, coming soon.
That is awesome.
Come quickly.
Yeah, that's because that's how that's read. I am Jesus Christ, coming soon.
If I just got played by that video game, I appreciate it.
I feel like they have
You just
done it
lost
to
a
a
level.
ton of people. This is fantastic.
Wait. Then if they try and release it a second time, like if they make an I am Jesus Christ 2,
It's already been out for 1,000 years.
so when's the release date for that second Jesus Christ game? We've been
Nobody
waiting a while,
knows.
buddy.
Not even the sun knows.
There's a third level.
That would be hysterical.
I don't even know.
Nobody knows when the release date is. Don't worry about it.
All I
Even the
know is-
developers don't know.
2 were playing and 1 disappeared.
I am Jesus Christ 2, now with realistic rapture.
Yeah, weeds versus wheats.
Okay, this is the best game ever. If they've done even half of this, I'm impressed.
I'm so scared that we have just talked this whole thing up and it's going to be a terrible game. But I think, like I said, we need to send this show to them and be like, hey, we have some great ideas for what could happen.
I'm just glad we changed the camera angle because I will never be on this.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
You guys will be gone
My
and I will
ghost
stay.
self is just on it. Oh, man, that's awesome.
All right, hey, you're listening live from the path. Thanks for joining us on the show tonight. There you go. Hey, maybe you hate that conversation. You think we're outrageous. Hit us up on the complaint line, the Bob Eisenhower complaint line, 515-517-0085. That's 515-517-0085. We can do calls or text. We would love to hear from you. Hey, would you play this I Am Jesus Christ video game? And if you would, or even if you wouldn't, what features are missing? I mean, what are must-haves on this game?
Maybe we need a sponsor to purchase one for us.
Yeah,
Bob.
that's Bob. For every complaint, Bob will give us $10.
Yeah, I'll call him.
Call Bob. See,
Yeah, I'll call right now.
He's super cool.
this is as good a time as any to tell him he's sponsoring this complaint line.
You know what? I ran into him a couple weeks ago and I didn't even bring it up.
Oh, hey, that reminds me. If you're ever searching for the show on Live from the Path and on the Google, and then you click the icon that goes to website, it goes to some sort of
Online pharmacy.
Yes, let's call it that. The best way to talk about it. I fixed that.
Good.
Yeah, I repaired that. So just so you know, we got hijacked.
Someone snuck in and
Yeah, and they basically reroute it so that it goes to their online pharmacy. It was a pretty common deal for low rent internet purveyors such as ourselves. So I fixed that just for a heads up.
Sweet.
If that ever happens again, give us the buzz on the complaint line. I'll get that repaired.
It's probably been like that for 8 years.
Yeah.
Live from the pharmacy.
Somebody brought it up one time in the last 8 years. Hey, man, your website redirects to the wrong place.
Okay. Hey, so here's the deal. You have been listening to the show for nigh on 10, 14 minutes, and you did not even know that you have been blessed to be listening to the delightful sonic voice of Allie Crummy. And so Allie's in studio. She's got a single out. She's got a couple EPs on the way. And so here's what I'm going to let you do. I'm going to let her introduce herself to you with a tune, and then we can learn some more about her, and you can find out where to pick up said music and engage in what she has going on. So let's first hear the song, and then we can get the background on it. Allie, are you ready for Out of My Head?
I am.
All right, let's fire this up. You're listening to Live from the Path. This is Allie Crummy with Out of My Head.
As the deer longs for streams of water, I thirst and I long for you, Lord. Why am I so depressed? Why all this turmoil in me? When can I come into your presence? Out of my head and into your hands, my anxious thoughts and my heavy burdens. Above it all, I give you my heart, place my hope in my Savior God. Deep calls too deep in the roar of your waterfalls, your waves
day, and His song will be with me at nighttime. Out of my head and into your hands, my anxious thoughts and my heavy burden. Above it all, I give you my heart and place my hope in my Savior God. Oh, place your hope in God. I will still praise Him more. Oh, place your hope in God, my Savior and my God. God, my rock. Out of my head and into your hands, my anxious thoughts and my heavy burdens. Above it all, I give you my heart and place my hope in my Savior God. Out of my head and into your hands, my anxious thoughts and my heavy burdens. Above it all, I give you my heart and place my hope in my Savior God. Ooh. Ooh.
Oh man, that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was great.
I love that.
Mike, you were nowhere near as good as her.
Well, now I don't want to go.
All right, cool.
That was Allie Crummy with Out of My Head. So, Allie, tell us a little bit about where that song came from.
The song is based on Psalm 42. As the deer longs for streams of water. At our church, Walnut Creek, we did a series on the Psalms last year, I think it was. And we thought it'd be cool to like try and do some original pieces, or maybe not even original pieces, but just some songs based on the Psalms. And so I was like, oh, this sounds like a fun challenge. And so that was one week that I was okay, it's Psalm 42 this week. So I kind of adapted it from a song that I had written many years prior. And I changed the lyrics, and we won't talk about what that song was.
Toothbrushes?
Was it
It was
toast?
about toothbrushes and toast. So
Wow.
I love the peanut butter song.
it
I'd like
wasn't
to
about
hear it.
anything bad. It just, it just wasn't a younger time. It was from a younger time.
Hey man, I've done that. I've looked at like poetry and stuff that I wrote when I was 16,
Sure.
and I've been there. I thought,
Yeah,
oh,
I know.
nope.
I thought that was
I know.
good.
Yeah,
That's right.
this seemed deep and
That's right.
impactful. But nobody loves toast.
That's how I feel about all this 10 years from
Right,
now.
right. It should always be that way.
We're everybody's regretful 16.
Yes, actually, that's us. We're locked into that time frame. Hey, so you're talking about songs that you had written kind of a ways back. How far back, or what got you into music to begin with?
That's a good question. Well, I'm the first song that I wrote, I think I was like, I remember a song that I wrote from 6. Like I remember that. I was, I wrote before then. I had taken piano lessons starting at like age 5. And, off and on writing, but, I'd have seasons where I was committed to more, the habit of it. So I had a season probably more like 15 years, well, maybe like 10 to 15 years ago, something like that. But yeah, I studied music at Drake. And so that helped a lot with the songwriting, kind of gave me some, a little bit more of a language to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, more kind of tricks and tools to like play around with. But yeah, it was more recently, probably around 5 years ago, that I knew that, I guess, okay, I always have sung at church, and I always have led worship since I became a Christian in 2003.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's always been on my heart. But then I had 3 kids. And so sometimes I would be, a little bit less in the mix, and there would, be months and months or even longer between when I would get to sing at church, and I would notice that I had that desire no matter what, whether I was singing every week or whether I was never singing. That never really went away, and I kind of got to the point where I realized it's not really fair for me to put this on the church. The church has to be the only outlet that I have to kind of, I guess this sounds bad, but to gratify my desire to play or to sing, or to use my gifts in that way. It doesn't seem fair to put that whole burden on the church. And so I decided, okay, well, I can write my own music, and I'll devote some time to that and see what happens. And then, so that was probably around 5 years ago that I decided to okay, I'm going to spend some real time doing this. And then in doing that, I was like, you know what? It would be a lot easier to write music if I could play the guitar, because I only played piano prior to that. And so about 4 years, going on 4 years ago, I learned how to play guitar. I taught myself on my son Ambrose, on his toy guitar.
Sweet.
Which was a great way to learn because it's small. And then eventually worked up to regular guitars. And then my husband and I now we lead worship, and we've been doing that for, leading together, me on guitar and he's singing more. That's been probably about 3 years that we've been doing that. So anyway, there's been a lot of songwriting in there too.
So that's a kind of a cool transition. Now, when you said when you taught yourself guitar, did you use a book? Did you do videos? Did you have someone else kind of help you, or how did you do it?
That's a good question. What did I do? I probably YouTube.
Yes.
Did some of it, but also I have because I have a degree in music, I have. I know, okay, so if I want to play an F chord, I need F, A, and C in there, so I could figure it out. Oh, okay, so this one's E, so okay, all right, that's F, that sort of thing.
Yep.
So some of them I figured out that way, and I still figure out chords that way still sometimes. But yeah, I think it was mostly just after the kids were in bed, tried to get, the 1, 4, 5, 6 down. And then I was like, I can lead worship now.
That's right.
Yeah,
I can lead worship.
As soon as I can suspend a second, I'll be in tolerant territory.
So.
Do you remember the first song that you learned? The first song where you felt like, hey, I got this. I can play this through on the guitar?
It was probably one of mine. I think I probably just, I probably got to the point where, okay, I can play 1, 4, 5, 6, and so I'll just write, oh, here's this idea of a song, okay, and here one thing leads to another, and then here you go, you have a song. So I think that was probably how it was. And then getting the capo really helped, because then I could play in different keys.
Right.
And now I like to think I'm a little bit better now, but I know that I plateaued a few years ago. So.
Oh, it's leveled off.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, do you have any particular songwriting influences?
Ooh, that's a good. I have a lot of different influences. I think I don't know. I love. If you're familiar with the band the Punch Brothers, anyone? Ooh, well, you guys should all look them up. They're really great. The reason that I like them is because they're a bluegrass band, but they're really more like a fusion band, and they take a lot of different genres, but a lot of art music elements, and then they do it with bluegrass instruments. And so the reason I fell in love with that band, well, if you know Nickel Creek, Yeah. Okay, so the mandolin player, Chris Thiele, is the front man of the Punch Brothers. But yeah, so their first album, they had 4 tracks on it were a suite. So they were each 12 minutes long. Each track was 12 minutes long. And it was just, it just felt kind of like going to a recital, like my Drake days. And just kind of very off the wall music ideas, but that really worked together. A lot of just really thoughtful orchestration.
Like epic bluegrass? I'm thinking
very epic
Beethoven
bluegrass.
Suites of things that all kind of go together.
Yes.
But a frolicking bluegrass number in four odes. That's what we're talking about?
Yeah. I mean, and
Sounds awesome.
and like part of it goes into almost like atonal worlds and stuff. I mean, it's super cool.
Okay.
And in fact, Chris Thiele has written a mandolin concerto that is with a full symphony orchestra. So like,
Well, hang on a minute. hang on a minute.
Thank you.
Hang on. This train has left the station three weeks ago, and I'm stuck on. I don't know what art music is. You said
Yes. I'm sitting in the back going, you lost me at 1456 or whatever.
when you said, "Shut up, Booba, you're derailing the train." When you said it's art music, what does that mean?
oh, yeah. So okay, maybe think of it like this: like, have high church and low church?
Crap, which one are we?
Okay,
We're low church, Mike.
Low.
Low church.
Yeah.
totally low
Are they in the basement?
church. Yeah. So like high church would be like
Liturgy versus high five.
yeah, like like an Anglican church
Yeah.
or like a
Right
Catholic or something like that. So think of that. That's kind of like art music is high church and folk music
Has been.
or pop music or rock or whatever. That's the music of the people. And then it's like Beethoven, Mozart, all that. That's art.
But this is high church bluegrass?
High church bluegrass.
Well,
That sounds like an awesome band name.
it'd be kind of okay. So to go with the analogy, it would
Yeah.
be like a house church doing a full liturgy kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking right off the top of my head. I've not thought this through.
Nope.
That's
That
the last
hits
10
me.
years of this show. That's okay.
That hits
Okay,
me
good.
right in my soul. Everything that you said right there makes
So yeah,
perfect sense.
that
to
would
me.
be a good analogy, maybe.
Second service Presbyterian.
Yeah.
Not the first one with the robes.
Sorry, these are
Yeah,
all
but
awesome
no, yeah,
band
you
names.
have
I'm
like
just saying.
in a house
Second
church,
Service
you have
Presbyterian
someone
is
wearing the robe,
Also an
and you
awesome
have
band name.
Hey, like we worship Jesus, but you can vape in here. but
Come
no
on in,
pu-
Chad. It's all right.
or a pipe, but not like a real cigarette.
Yeah.
Pipes
Real
or
smoking.
pipes
No.
or vapes. Okay, I'm in it. Okay.
Pipes are fake.
So
Hey,
these-
wait a
We've
minute.
got High Church Bluegrass.
Have you seen
Second Service
Have
Presbyterian
you
are the
seen
new
that
band names that I
the
got.
vaping pipe where you can smoke like it looks like a pipe?
Oh, it looks like a meerschaum pipe?
Yeah, but it's a vapor.
Oh, no.
I'm telling you what.
Society, something's wrong.
You know what? You're gonna ruin the pipe for everybody. You know what I'm saying? It was a
Corn
classic.
cob pipe with a vape cloud. That's
Yeah.
not okay.
No good. Sorry, Ben. Down
Okay,
and forth.
so but just to land this plane here though,
Yes.
I didn't listen to that first song of yours. I didn't think High Church Bluegrass.
No, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things where you appreciate the genius of somebody, and then you can't replicate it yourself.
So Jerry Springer says he really digs on Oprah as an influence, but his show doesn't look like Oprah.
yeah, that's probably
That seems like a very harsh
That's
comparison.
probably where we're
I'm very
at.
sorry
I was
about
going to
that.
say, man, are you kidding me?
It's just what came into my mind.
yeah.
Maybe we should take a step back from that.
Okay, Allie Crummy.
You did not sound
I'm
like
the Jerry Springer
The Jerry
of
Springer.
Oprah.
So can we
I
call
thought
you
that
Jerry?
song was phenomenal. You're a great singer. And
know
you
what?
play guitar incredibly
You know
well.
what? Forget it. I don't take it back. I'm protected by
You know how Jerry Springer wishes he was Oprah? You sing like that. You kidding me?
You listen to the Punch Brothers though, and it's
You low
it's
church
true.
bluegrass?
It's true. I shouldn't have even brought him up.
Put your vape away. You're disgusting.
No, you did great. The host of 10 years just messed that one up. You're just fine.
No, I don't take it back. I sit where I sit. Okay. Wait, so was your family musical? Like, do you come from a musical family, or are you an aberration?
Yeah, I come from a musical family.
I'm on fire. over here.
Come on,
I'm
man.
important to my family.
So are you odd, Jerry?
On fire.
Other things are weird about you. Come on, man.
Hey, okay. Before this train leaves another station, where this music is available to hear commercially.
Are you
correct?
talking about the Punch Brothers, or are you talking about
No, yours.
my
Yes.
stuff? Okay. Well, the Punch Brothers, yes, they are available. No, but mine is I have a single out.
Okay.
Called "I Have Peace," which is the next song that I'll sing. Oh my gosh.
Don't worry.
You
Ben
guys
needs
got
a
me all
partner in crime.
frazzled.
This is why
Call
I
me
don't
Jerry
take it back.
Springer.
She's throwing punches.
So one is available now, but more will be available hopefully early spring. We've got studio dates in early January to record my first EP, which will include the single, and then 5 additional songs.
You already have the 5 songs picked out?
I do have the 5 songs picked out. The 3 songs I'll sing tonight are 3 of the 5. Well, I guess that's not true. It's 2 of them are of the 5, and then the 1 is I Have Peace. But they'll 3 of the 6 that will be on the EP. Yeah. And then once that's out and launched, then we'll do a second EP with different instrumentation. And a lot of those songs are going to be TBD. So we'll find out. And the release date of that will be in 2020 sometime, as early as we can get it.
So let's say you're super interested in these promises. You say, hey, this music sounds, I want to get in on the single, and I want to know when the stuff is coming out, and you want to be kind of on the front line of it. The best place to find Allie is on the Insta. Okay, you're gonna go at Allie Crummy Music. That's ALLIECRUMMY music all together.
That's right.
On the Insta, and that's where she lives. She's most comfortable there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm on Facebook as well, and
Facebook is so last year.
YouTube. I do have a music video out on YouTube, so that's fun.
Okay, so that's what you can check out now. You can go watch the video for I Have Peace. That's out on YouTube. Now, do you know your YouTube handle?
I think it's Allie Crummy Music.
Yeah, there we go. It's the same everywhere. Just try it out everywhere and see what happens.
Whatever happens.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Don't click on the website button, no. In case do you have a website, an actual site?
I don't. I should. My husband.
It only brings pain.
He could do
I was
that.
gonna say, make sure it doesn't take you to some weird
To take it like a weed thing or something.
Yeah.
A pharmacy. I feel like I understand.
You saw through it already.
Did you air quote it? I didn't see that. Was there an air quote?
Yeah, she saw through
Roll
the
the
side.
tape.
Yeah.
Roll the tape.
Hey, she said weed. I didn't say weed. She said weed because it's like the Jerry Springer Show.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
all right.
low church now.
Okay, so so three things you're gonna do relatively directly after you get done listening to the show. The first thing you're gonna go to Instagram and you're gonna find Allie Crummy Music and you're gonna follow it so that you can be kept up to date on everything that's going on. 2, once you sign up for that, I'm confident there's either a link to the video or the video out on this Instagram to go watch the I Have Peace video, which I did see and it looks good, and you will recognize Micah from the August Guns. He's in the video.
Yeah.
You can he cuts a mean cloth. I saw him and I said, hey, that's Micah from the August Guns.
Yeah.
So he's on there. You can check him out.
Yeah.
3, you're gonna go listen to these Punching Hillbillies. What was it again?
The Punch Brothers.
The Punch Brothers.
Yeah.
Punch
Okay.
Hillbillies.
I did not mean to make this whole thing about the Punch Brothers, but
You're gonna
they
check it
are
out.
great.
I'm gonna listen to it. You're gonna listen to it. And you're gonna get back to me, and we're gonna compare notes. And that's what we're gonna do. So those are the 3 things. Put them on the list.
And to clarify, they really did only the one suite, so the rest of it is not going to sound quite as art music-y. But the first album,
I'm really deflated.
I know. I should
They got a lot of
roll this
albums.
all back, and edit it all out.
No, the tape's free on the internet, Allie. We just let it roll. Okay.
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay. Hey, so check this out. I was in Minneapolis this week, and I stayed at a hotel that I don't normally stay in. Like I stay in the cheap hotel, but there was like a bargain on the nicer hotel that was closer to work, so I stay at this nicer hotel. And anyway, there's one restaurant in the basement, and I call it Gulia, but it's certainly not Gulia. It's like some kind of Italian restaurant. What would they say it? How would they say it, Buva?
Julia?
Yeah, it's probably not
They
Gulia,
wouldn't
right?
say it like that.
No, I have no idea. I have no idea how you're spelling it, how it looks.
Julia.
Julia? Is
Yeah,
that what you're trying to say?
I think holy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Seems like how Mike did it. Anyway,
Like I did.
so
With the hand up too? Oh, now it's definitely an Italian restaurant.
so
Yeah.
so anyway, I go here and like I'm not prepared for this. I don't do well in social situations, even when I'm by myself. And so I look at this menu, and they have like these pizzas. You can make your own pizzas, and they're like $18 for this pizza. The next thing on the menu was $42. So $18 pizza that you eat by yourself, or some sort of like lamb dish, and like everything else was $40 and above. And here's the thing: I don't really like to explain to my boss why I ate a $40 lamb dish. So I'm in for this pizza. Okay, and so I order this pizza, and it's taking like forever. I'm sitting there waiting for it. It's taking forever. The guy finally shows up, and he says, "I'm very sorry, sir. We gave your pizza to someone else." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean you gave it to someone else?" And then he leans down and he whispers in my ear, and he goes, "The Pope is in the area."
What?
And I said,
Are you kidding me? At Julia?
I said, "I'll be doggone, sir. He didn't order the lamb-ish. But apparently, the Pope, but he wasn't staying. I thought maybe he was staying in the hotel. And but he wasn't. He was in town. He was in some kind of like a van, like a bus, like a traveling bus, like Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Like he was, and he was on his way to Des Moines. And I say, I'll be doggone it again. I'm from that area. And they said, no, the Pope is definitely in town, and he's we've heard he got pizza, and now he's in Des Moines. And so I get back home and I start asking around, and there's a crowd of people that I followed, and they ended up at Mike's place. And I'm like, what the heck ever? Mike is not Catholic. There's no way the Pope is at his place. And so I kind of go in and talk to him, and it turns out that there's been a malicious rumor that Mike is the Pope. And all these people have gathered on his front lawn. And so now the problem is he's got to get him to go away. And so the resolution always, this is for you, this is advice from me to you, always if someone mistakes you for the Pope, the way to get them off their lawn is to give them some sort of advice like the Pope would. When he walks out onto the veranda thing and he gives the advice, but it's got to be something that's relevant to your life, so it's heartfelt, and they take it home with them. So, Mike, you have to give them some Pope-style advice. What did you say?
So I walked out to my door, and I looked out at the mass of people, and I said, listen, I went and visited a family member of mine in the hospital, and they're not. It's coming to the end for them. It's just is. And I was sitting there talking to him, and I listened to him speak, and every word out of his mouth was a grateful one. Right? He was grateful for every little kid he saw. He was grateful for for my daughter. He knows my kids, okay well, but not very well. But like he just considered them to be such a blessing. He was grateful for every nurse that came in, every janitor that came by, every doctor that stopped by just to say hello, and like where the doctor would come in or the nurse would come in, and I picked out 6 things that irritated me about the dude, his squeaky shoes or whatever. I felt he wasn't in there very long, and the patient, he's just sitting there, just great. He goes, boy, they just do. And then they left the room, and he looks at me and goes, boy, they just do a great job here. They just really do. They just do a great job. I'm so grateful that they have such caring people here. And I thought, man, I could not have been more disappointed in myself that I just flat out don't have a grateful heart. Like I just don't. I could spend a solid amount of my day thinking about everything that was, not right, or everything that I irritated me, or I didn't think was up to whatever I thought it was going to be. And the thing is I'd like to chalk it up to the fact that that he is not going to be here much longer, but he's always been this way. Ever since I've known him, he's been this way. And he's 95 now. And so I've probably known him for 20 years, and he has always been this. He always, every time he would reminisce about somebody from his past, he goes, yeah, they were just such great people. And in my head, I'm thinking, no possible way everybody you've ever met is that great. There is no possible way that every person that you recall a story of or have an interaction with that you think, yeah, they were great people. And I think it can be that. I think I'm not that way. And I think that maybe I'm not alone. I think maybe I spend a lot of time not appreciating the fact that I get to know even my own kids, right? Like I look at them as the role they play, which is one of my children, right? But like if I look past that and look at who they actually are, and the interaction that I get to have with them, and the complete gift of just being able to know another person and to have another person know you, I think you could probably actually look back on a good bulk of your life and be grateful for those interactions. And I think maybe on the whole, I think we completely waste that. I think I completely waste that. Where it's funnier to tell the story about how there's a guy with the super squeaky shoes this morning. I spent probably 20 minutes making fun of this guy to a friend of mine. Every time we were just standing around talking, and here come old squeaky shoes. I was like, he's got squeaky shoes. Where Grandpa would have gone up and talked to the guy, knew him, and he goes, yeah, that Mark, he's a great guy. He had some squeaky shoes, but he was a great guy. You know what I'm saying? It's a complete afterthought that my main goal is the comedy, making fun of the man's shoes, right? And so anyway, I think I say all that to say that like in the amount of time that I was up there talking to him, I just realized that I feel like I've wasted a giant amount of my life being disappointed in people and not grateful for them, even the ones that caused me a lot of trouble and caused me a lot of heartache. it really is a perspective change. You don't have to be mad. You don't have to hate them. You don't have to be irritated with them. That is a choice that you make. I mean, you don't have to put yourself in a position where you're going to be harmed. You know, I mean, there's obviously times to back out of relationships and whatever. And I don't want to swing with a giant bat, but I mean, some of the little things, it is a complete choice of yours to choose to be grateful for them or not grateful for them. So my Pope style advice is, remember whose kingdom it is. That you don't have to fight for your own. You get to choose to be grateful, and it's God's kingdom, not yours. So be grateful for the things that especially for the relationships and the people, even if it's just the guy you see at the gas station every Tuesday. I mean, that guy don't have to smile at you. He don't have to remember your name. He doesn't have to remember that you always get a Mountain Dew and a Twinkie, right? But he does. Why? I don't know why. He just does. And it's just weird little things like that I don't know. My Pope style advice is try to replace some of that irritation and maybe upsettedness and just trade that in for some humility and some gratefulness.
Well, you know what I think it is? Because I very much do that. And I think there's something that's inborn that says, one, I want to feel like I have things figured out. And so if I believe that if I am wiser than the world around me, when it acts, I act. It's to be consistent with that. I shouldn't be surprised. So when the gas station guy does things that a gas station guy would do, I shouldn't be surprised or grateful for it because that's just what it's supposed to do, and I'm wise and I'm hip to that, and I know that. And so, like, it's kind of built in as people for us not to be. I'm grateful when I'm surprised, right? When I didn't expect something, and so the problem is that my expectation. I very much believe I either am owed or my sense of what is normal doesn't bend towards gratefulness. It bends towards, oh yeah, I have this figured out. The way that person holding open the door doesn't surprise me. I'm too cool for school. They held open the door because they should have. And so why should I have to feel grateful for that? And like, it's not an attempt to say I don't want to be grateful, but like, it's just, I think it's an attempt to say, I'm not surprised by anything as some way to say that I have more control of my world than I actually have.
You know, it's a prime example with how we interact with Yahweh too. I recall specifically this past week. I ain't kidding you. I got down on my knees and buried my head on the floor and prayed for something, and I asked God to interact in something, and He did. He absolutely showed up and did it, like to the point where I went and found a rock and wrote on it. I'm not a big rock guy, but building the rock.
Yeah,
but I thought this. If I've ever been part of a rock day. This is a rock day.
Putting up an Ebenezer.
I'm putting up an Ebenezer. I'm fine. In fact, I text the woman. I said, woman, today's a rock day. I want you to find me a rock, and that's it. Today's a rock day. And I thought, the whole time I thought, I know he did it. I asked him to do it. I prayed about it. And he showed up like this in direct response for what I've done. And then the next day, you could not find me in that same mindset. Which means I assented to it. Like we always talk about this, is like it doesn't do you any good to cognitively assent to Jesus, right? You're just in. You're a follower of Christ, right? You can't just agree with him. You got to follow him. And like even when God shows up and answers a direct prayer that I begged him for, and at the time it was overwhelming, and I was just so blown away that he even cared to answer that. But he did, and I don't know why he did, but he did. And then the next day, I thought, if someone had just given me like a brand new car 2 days ago, I would still be extremely grateful for that. But because I think God is a God of interaction, and God is a God of doing crazy things, and I've seen him do it, you're right. I just go, well, that's what God does.
Right.
So my gratefulness goes, like it's not like I can't acknowledge it was awesome. It was awesome. But without that sense of gratefulness, it seems like I miss my right place, and more importantly, his right place.
Well, and think of how many other relationships in your life get stale because of that, right? Like everyone appreciates their spouse when you get married, and then you just start relegating them to roles. Well, isn't that what you're supposed to do anyway? And then you stop being grateful for the very things that like you were super grateful at the beginning. And like it isn't because your situation has changed, it's because your perspective has changed. You got used to something, decided that you were owed it or that it was normal, and then as it continues to move on, you no longer thank that person or think of them kindly for doing those things or being that person for you. It's some people are so great at this. Like the way that they look at the world, they're like, boy, I thank God for the breath I have today. And like, that is not me. I feel like, Lord, you created the breath. It is doing what it is supposed to do. And so like, it is just not in me to be like, Lord, I thank you for this very breath today. I'm like, you could have killed me already, and you decided not. I'm not saying I'm thinking about this right. I'm just saying like, it just does not flow through my mind in this way. And it causes me, Mike, I think to your point, to be ungrateful because it assumes things. It moved as my standard as God's standard of grace continues to be further revealed in my life. I just accept it as if it now belongs to me, not that it is more further and more robustly sustaining me in the life that I have. And to that extent, I become ungrateful, or it's not ungrateful. It's just blind to it.
Yeah.
Like I don't, and same thing. Like I've been married for 15 years. Same risk, doing the very same thing, and not appreciating what it's one of the things that my wife and I pray about is like, hey man, we should be enjoying our children. Like I feel like sometimes we just don't like we're going through the motions of making sure that we are trying to parent well and trying to raise them to be good humans, but like they are enjoyable people. I like them, and if I go like 3 days and I don't found that I've enjoyed my kids, that's not their fault. I don't care what they did. That's on me. I'm simply setting myself to not enjoy these cool little humans that the Lord has given me to shepherd around. And that's on me.
Yeah. You can get off my lawn now. I'm grateful that you stopped by.
Okay. Yeah. Right. Dan, what do we do here? Like, I stink at this. Help me.
Oh man,
how do I fix it?
Honestly, I go back and forth. I have days where I am thankful, like for every third breath, and I'm like, I look up at the sun and I think, hey, thank you. I'll go through 2 weeks and not think of anything, and I'll go back and forth where you are, and not to get really weird, but I read once. I wish I could find where I read this, that the Jews had like a official blessing and prayer they did after a bowel movement. And it was like they did like after everyone, like thank you God, you know, like the body's working and everything. And there were times I'll think, yeah, thanks. I think, okay, that's really weird. But that's when I have those moments,
right?
And yeah.
Well, it's really helpful, Dan.
I'm
real good.
Where your thankful heart goes, Dan.
It was an official Jewish thing.
Yahweh for something in a while.
It had a name. I don't remember it.
Although, actually, so building that's a good point. Building it into your prayer life is super helpful. We've been talking about this actually at church as a church. I was looking at Sunday morning, and basically we spend a lot of time. We focus on pretty deep and kind of intensive teaching. We spend a time singing and praising, and but then I looked and said, look, if I wanted somebody to know anything about our church community, like it could be like those guys will pray you under the table. And I thought we could not pray anybody over the table. Like we have a few people that could do it, but like as a community, like it's not a crazy big focus for us, and it's reflected in Sunday morning that it isn't. I thought that has to change, and so we've actually been spending like focused time on prayer over the last few weeks, and like that was one of the key things that is starting to guide us. Is that like don't just show up and start spurting at God whatever's on your mind. Like that would be rude if you were meeting someone for coffee to do that. And so I'm just going to do that to God. And one of the things, the helpful things was like, let's just start acknowledging who God is and what he does. And like, if you have to go through the alphabet and think of what matches and start doing that to help you get your mind and start thinking about God that way, then great. And that actually helps me start being grateful because I start forcing myself to recognize that God is accommodating and love is bountiful. And like things like that, and like then I start being grateful for it. So even being reminded of who God is and things that describe him start causing me to be grateful for things that I had otherwise not acknowledged. And so to be honest, that's been actually helpful in bringing those things to mind. So I mean, if it's something that you're struggling with, just been doing that for the last few weeks, and that's been super helpful.
And you could pray about the bowel movements.
Yeah.
Hey,
Dan, did you Google it?
Oh, Dan, your search results are going to be tainted for weeks.
You go incognito mode on that?
Jewish bowel movements.
Asher Yatzer? I don't know.
Is that
I said
like
that wrong.
that like the name of that Italian restaurant?
They said the Yazir.
Decided after discretion.
What?
that whole
I'm
stuff.
sorry, what?
No.
How do they describe it? Engaging in an act of what?
After using.
Hmm.
I
mean,
got the Hebrew right.
What does unsuccessful look like?
We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you. Move it, yeah?
Jerry?
It's a little too Jerry Springer there.
No, not doing
Jerry
that.
Springer.
I could do it.
We're the
I'm
Jerry
Jerry.
Springer of hosts.
Okay, so let's do this. Allie, let's jump into another tune.
Okay, great.
Go ahead and grab your axe there. So Allie's going to do the song that the single that is out. And so
Yeah.
remember, you can find her on Instagram at Allie Crummy Music, ALLIECRUMMY Music, and take a look at his video. I saw the video. It's beautiful. It's a great looking video.
My friend Hannah did a great job.
Hannah is talented. And so anyway, but she's going to perform that same song here in the studio with us. So tell us a little bit about the song "I Have Peace."
Oh, okay. Do you? How little do you want?
Tell us less than 10 minutes, but more than 2.
Okay. Oh, okay. Good. All right, I can. So, my son Lincoln was born in January of 2015, but he was supposed to be born in April of 2015. And he was born so early because I had eclampsia.
Mm-hmm.
If anybody knows, so preeclampsia is the thing they get nervous that it's going to lead to eclampsia, which is seizures. And so I wasn't feeling very well, and this is before the seizure. I didn't know what was going on. I just didn't quite feel well, and it got to this point where I couldn't move my head one way actually. And then the next day, then I had more pain kind of in my abdomen, and I called, and the OB was like, "Oh, well, you've got an appointment tomorrow. Just wait it out." And I was like, "I don't know. I feel like I need to come in." And so I ended up calling my husband. He came home, and I drove myself to the hospital, and I was in triage for 15 minutes, and then I had a 2-minute grand mal seizure. And then and then they said, we're delivering you this today, your son. I was at 30 weeks. And so it was very scary.
Yeah.
And then after that, things were going well. My son was doing well. He was in the NICU. I was still in the hospital, but it was the day that I was going to get discharged. And then I kind of have memory loss but apparently I told somebody, I went to the NICU to go visit my son, and then apparently I told somebody, I feel really weird. I feel like I'm going to have another seizure. And then so next thing I know, I'm just, I'm kind of strapped to a bed. I'm on this magnesium drip thing, and I'm stuck, in this bed for 24 hours where it's anti-seizure stuff. And then my blood pressure is just through the roof. When I had gone in before my first seizure in that triage, I think they read it, and it was like 200 something for one teens. And then, that second time, after the postpartum preeclampsia, it was really intense. And I was in the hospital for 8 days, and it was just days of 150, 160, 180 over 100. We would get really excited if the bottom number was under 100. And so it was terrifying. I could see my pulse. I felt like I was gonna explode because there was just so much pressure under my skin, and I was terrified. I thought I was gonna die, and I also thought I was gonna die before my son was born. And I had just thought, the first thing I thought is, I just drove myself here. I could have had a seizure while I was driving, or I could have taken the doctor's advice and had a seizure at home with my 2 kids by myself, and I would have died. And so I remember in that moment on that table, the first, before my son was born, the first seizure, I just remember, 1, being really scared, like I could die on this table. And 2, also feeling like, take off your shoes, you're on holy ground kind of thing. Whoa, God saved my life. Yeah. Anyway, so I was on blood pressure meds for about 4 months after. It was just very intense. Just really hard to get things under control. And then I just had other things. I think when your body goes through that much pressure, that much, kind of like you stub your toe and it hurts for a while. That was like what happened to my cardiovascular. So
Oh.
it reverberated for months.
Right.
Like heart palpitations and stuff like that. And then I'm looking up, heart palpitations at, 4 months postpartum. And then I learn about cardiomyopathy. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have heart failure. I'm going to die and all these things. So again, it feels like I'm going to die. And just kind of there was that whole year just kind of feeling like my body was trying to kill me.
Right.
And then later that year, I got in a really bad, well, it wasn't really bad. It could have been a lot worse. But I got in a bike accident, by myself. I fell off my bike. But I broke my collarbone in two, and then it didn't heal right. So then I had to have orthopedic surgery, and that all happened in the same year.
Wait, minor clarification. Like motorcycle or like
bicycle?
You bicycle.
I know. It's not.
I'm not judging. I just clarification.
It's the less
Hey,
cool
you can
of
be
the
going
two.
pretty fast on those things. I've been going 20, 25 miles an hour and gone. I mean, yeah.
I was at Saylorville going down like the dam.
Yep.
It was never again will I do
going.
that. But anyway, it was just that year. There was a lot of uncertainty with my health, and there was a lot of just fear, which was technically probably irrational fear, but felt pretty rational because a lot of terrible things had already happened. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing that scared me the most was when I thought I was gonna, when it was like I might die on this table, and then I got to see exactly how I felt about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you have your theology, and you're like, oh yeah, I know if I died today, I'm 100% sure I go to heaven, and like to live is Christ and to die is gain. And so all these things and you say all these right answers, but then it's like, today I might die. And then you see how you actually feel about it. And I was terrified. And that was terrifying to me. Because I was like, am I not a Christian? Like, am I not saved? Like, should I be that scared? And so anyway, I wrote this song that year to remind myself of truth. To remind myself of the fact that in Christ I have peace with God. That I have His righteousness. That I've been made righteous through His blood. That I'm sinful and I'm messed up, and also like I'm faithless sometimes too. But that He's made a promise to me, and it's based on His word and mine. And so I wrote this song because I needed to be reminded of. And I needed to sing them, and I needed to think about them, and I needed them to help calm me down. And I think it helped. So
That's a great reason to write a song.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Well, awesome. I bet. So you're ready for it. You're set up the pins.
Yep. Ready
To
go?
knock them down. All right.
Okay.
So this is I Have Peace. You're listening to Allie Crummy on Live from the Path.
I live in a fallen world. I walk on unstable ground, and my enemy is stronger than I know. But I have peace, I have peace, I have peace with God. I don't know what tomorrow will bring, but I know that trials will come, and I don't know when the end will be for me, but I have peace, I have peace, I have peace with God. I have peace, I have peace, I have peace with God. guilty of sin. No matter how hard I try, but I will stand one day before His holy throne, and I'll have peace, I'll have peace, I'll have peace through His blood. I'll have peace, I'll have peace, I'll have peace through His blood, through His blood, through His blood. I have been made righteous through His blood, through His blood, through His blood. I have peace, I have peace, I have peace with God. I have peace, I have peace, I have peace through His blood. Ooh, oh, oh, ooh.
Man, that's fantastic. I like. I that's the story behind it is I don't know. It draws you in like.
It makes it deeper.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
deeper.
really does.
That was great.
Yeah, especially if you have kids, you know,
Yeah.
you see how easy stuff like that is to happen, and
I like it in almost its simplicity. Like when things are just not, they're just messy, right? Like it's almost just amazingly deep and simple to look back at. Oh, here's the things I know.
Yep.
I know that I got it. You know,
Yeah.
if there's a place to start, I think, right? I think that's it.
right, and we can't always have peace with people. You know, sometimes that it's a two-way street. We can have forgiveness and we can have readiness to be reconciled, but we can't always have peace there.
Yeah.
But we can have peace, which is really cool that's something that's promised to us, and it's not based on how good of a job we're doing as Christians or how often we're reading our Bibles or whatever. It's based on what He's done for us.
I really
It's
like
true.
that song.
Hey man, so as a reminder, that's one of the ones you can dig on. You can go out and hit up the
That
YouTube.
one's out now.
That's right. It is available to be listened, to be taken in visually.
It's
I
on
mean,
Spotify too. It's on Apple Music. It's
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
Amazon.
So you could buy it.
You
I
can
can s-
purchase it.
I can stream
You
it,
can-
or I can buy it.
You can buy it, and the money would go to me if you.
Yeah.
I can stream it for free though,
That
and
took
you'll
a-
get like a.
Wow, I guess. Okay.
Is that what we're saying?
We're here for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Local artists that we enjoy.
Yeah,
Or,
yeah.
I mean, you want me to tell lies on here? I stream everything.
I think so. So I don't know if you guys remember, Mike and I put a song out. But it had to been more than a year ago, year and a
little
half
more
or
than a
something,
year ago.
to try to raise money for the orphanages and stuff when you're going to Ethiopia. And like, it's on Spotify. I mean, and you get like 0.0008 cents
It's actually not even.
per
So
spin.
I'm looking at my Spotify numbers, and I did the math, and right now it's looking at
One more
0.0008.
eight.
So it's 10. It's a tenth of what I was expecting.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I'm gonna
Did
send
you-
an email.
There goes the summer house.
So
Yeah.
the boys were putting out like some random dudes were putting out their Spotify numbers as artists or whatever.
Mhm.
Like, do you get to see? Do we have
Yes.
that? Ben?
Oh yeah.
Was it? Oh, it was bad. Allie, do you
You're
have that?
asking about my numbers,
Yeah,
or you're
yeah.
asking about
Yeah,
your
yeah.
guys'
No,
numbers?
your numbers. Yeah.
No, actually, I was really pleasantly surprised by my numbers. Right now, it's getting close to 24,000 streams
Awesome.
on Spotify. Yeah, so you would think that would end up to be more than $61, but
No,
it doesn't
no.
end
See?
up to
There's a
be
bunch
more
of my
than
foos out there
$61.
streaming the thing. I'm telling you,
I know.
ain't no buying.
Okay.
Hold on a minute, I'm ready.
Yo, what do you got? No.
that's awful.
I thought I was handing over for dear life from the path.
I didn't say. I didn't say. Are you ready? I said I was ready.
Yodel and
Warming
porpoise.
up all night.
Yodeling Porpoise, band name.
While Mike's pulling that up again, Instagram at Allie Crummy Music. So hey, here's the deal: buy that tune, huh? Go out and buy. So like, yeah, you can stream it and enjoy it, but we could just drop the buck on it or whatever it is. All right.
You do whatever you want.
Yeah,
You know,
no.
it's all good.
No.
It's all good.
Allie is
This
much
is the
more.
internet. You cannot tell people to do whatever they want.
No.
You have to tell them specifically, hey,
Yeah,
spend the
That's
dollar.
how you get an online pharmacy.
Yeah.
If you don't spend the dollar, we will figure out how to get your website to be an online pharmacy
Yeah.
too.
Here's the deal.
I'll threaten. I don't
Only
care.
like 8 people listen to the program, and so if she doesn't sell 8 songs, I know who's responsible.
Oh, hey.
We are aware of every single one
track
of you.
that.
Grandma. Okay, what you got, Mike?
Dear, live from the path. I work in a small office with 5 other people. Due to the nature of our business, we work various shifts throughout the day. I am the oldest employee, and when it comes to our schedule, I feel discriminated against. I usually get 4 night shifts and 1 day shift a week. Everyone else gets 1 night shift and the rest day shifts. The lead technician is the one who arranges our schedule. If I ask her about it, she tells me she has no one else or some similar excuse, when I know she easily can change things to make it more fair. I'm not one of her, quotes, buddies, probably because I'm at least 20 years older than the rest. I just get very frustrated every time I see my new schedule. The part-time people get better hours than I do. Nation? I don't know if you understand how a at-will employee relationship works, sir. But no, it's not discrimination. You could just quit.
Yeah. You don't. I guess that's the thing. Is like you can say, look, I don't want to work these hours anymore.
Boova. No. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. No, okay, I do. Go ahead.
Technically speaking, if you, when it comes to discrimination and things like that, the burden of proof is on the employer, not on you. And so you basically have to just claim it, and then they have to prove that they do. If they don't have any kind of documented process when it comes to how you get shift bids, how you get schedules, how the schedules are made, if there have been documented conversations of we asked other employees, no one's able to, we have a yearly thing that we ask everyone what their availability is, that kind of stuff. The employer has to supply that kind of information to show that it's not a kind of discrimination.
Yeah, but I have a 2-year track record of him showing up and working these shifts.
Agreed. No, I'm
So,
not. I'm not saying.
you know.
I'm not saying it is discrimination by textbook. What I'm saying is that you have a claim.
Plus,
You can
everyone
make one.
else is going to school or whatever. You're the only guy available.
Which is
at
why
night.
the
So
burden
that
of
would
proof
be
is
a
on the
good
employer to
perk,
go,
yeah.
hey, I have documented processes that say every 3 months we have a shift bid based off the merit of my employees.
No. Every
Or-
night I schedule him and he shows up.
Yeah,
That's my proof.
Yeah, and if you have conversations that have that documented, you're in a lot better of a place than just saying, hey, I did it and I hope for the best. That's the place we're at right now when it comes to employment law and things. You are right, it's an at-will employer. You're absolutely right. You have every right to leave at any point in time, just like your employer has every right to fire
Well,
you.
yeah,
at
just
any point
because you
in
have the
time.
right to leave doesn't mean you weren't discriminated.
Yeah, exactly, right? Just because it's an at-will employer
Yeah, it
or
does.
an at-will country, really, doesn't mean that discrimination doesn't happen. It
I
doesn't
mean, here's
mean
the
you don't
thing.
have a
If I
right to
felt
have
you were digging for the right reasons here, you're asking if it's discrimination because you're gearing up to do something naughty. You're
Yeah.
going to be a Mr. Nasty Pants. Like, you're not saying, how do I get this fixed, or do I have a legal obligation to get myself put on day shift? You're not saying, how can I resolute this problem?
Right,
You're like,
exactly.
how can I dramatize this problem and make it huge?
The way the discrimination goes and wrongful termination and all that kind of stuff, you're absolutely right. You should have the conversations with your employer first before you go to the legal system. The legal system is in place because you had the conversations with your employer already. You had conversations with their bosses or whatever that looks like, and they weren't willing to do things for you. Prove that.
Yeah, he's using a lot
It's
of
not
I
a-
feel
It's,
language.
yeah, exactly. You're absolutely right. It's not immediately, hey, I feel like I'm being discriminated against. I haven't spoken to anyone, but I did call OSHA or I did call the Department of Labor. That's not a fair thing to do. You're not allowing your employer to fix things. But if you just feel bad about something, especially if the conversation or the thing that they said was, it's probably because I'm 20 years older than them and not a part of their friend club, that means you haven't had a real structured conversation with your employer that says, hey, I do feel discriminated against and fix that. That's the whole job of an HR manager is to field those kind of responses and those kind of conversations and to go, okay, let me investigate and look into that. Let me see what's happening. Prove on my end that it's not discrimination, and then make sure on your end it doesn't look like discrimination.
okay.
That's the whole deal of an HR.
So I mean, roll it up. Here's the thing: as a person, practical perspective, understand that the word discrimination has become a loaded term.
Absolutely.
To discriminate between things is to make distinctions. You have 2 different shifts, sir. 3 different shifts, it sounds like. Out of 5 people? What kind of operation is this? It sounds like a drug cartel.
Right.
Anyway, so you need to think about this from a more practical perspective. Are they treating you differently because you're doing night shifts primarily and someone else is doing day shifts primarily? Yes, that is a distinction. Not a discrimination, it's a distinction. Now, if they are doing that because are there probably reasons for that? Sure. Are they implicitly nefarious? No, not necessarily. I can think of a completely plausible explanation that it has to do with age, frankly. If I got 5 people in my office and one guy no longer has children or whatever, and he seems to be freer at night, of which 4 of my younger folks just seem to be tied up or whatever at nighttime, and so they need to be working during the day, and so that's what works out for them. Great. It's probably not that he's because they want him on the night shift. It's because no one else is willing to take the night shift, and he seems to put up with it. That's not discrimination.
Right.
If you don't like it, absolutely you need to have that conversation. There's no reason you shouldn't have that and say, look, I don't want to keep doing this. You need to try harder. I'm doing this because I thought I was helping the company or whatever. I don't intend to do this forever. I need you to help and get me another shift. Totally cool. But let's just be clear that, like, people make decisions for reasons. Just because those are synonyms to discrimination doesn't mean you actually have a problem. It's just a distinction that was made for a reason. You need to actually know whether it's a nefarious reason, and you need to have actually attempted to solve the problem or to improve your situation before you start saying things like discrimination. I'm not saying, like, if they are discriminating against you, then you should do something about it. You have full-fledged to do it. But I'm just saying, like, let's walk into it like don't assume the worst. Let's try to solve it in the best possible way we can. Let's try to make peace with people around to the extent that we can do it, and then only take action when you actually have to. That's what I'm saying.
Secular's advice?
Yeah. Anybody else? We all good here?
I agree with what you said.
Okay. Allie, you good?
I mean, I might be a little bit more. I mean, I agree that he probably should talk to the employer first. The question I would ask is maybe why hasn't he? Maybe there's a reason why he hasn't. Maybe he doesn't feel comfortable bringing that. Maybe he doesn't feel like he will be listened to. Maybe he does feel like there's a hostile environment, that there's a reason why he.
I mean, but like, doesn't he have to do it anyway? Like again, let's say he feels that way, but I mean, I feel like
he probably still should.
You should validate it.
He should probably still. He probably still should.
Absolutely.
But if you think about, maybe he could cite reasons why he wouldn't, or maybe But I think there could be reasons why it might not be as generous on his end.
Yeah, well, I think that goes to a broader point, which is like, you don't have to love it. Like, it doesn't have to be a comfortable conversation. But here's the thing: is that, like,
It still needs to happen.
like no
Yeah, most
no
of
one
the time
can
it's not
function
really
off what you think or what you believe, right? Like, if you're talking about something tangible, they are discriminating against me. Then do something tangible that says, hey, are you discriminating against me? Or I want day shifts, and they won't do it because of my age. Great, nailed it. We're good to go. And I get that it probably won't be that clean, but like, I do want to make sure. I think there's a prudence in even as followers of Jesus, guys. Like, we do have to deal with our reality, and like, a lot of times we get caught up in what is not actually. We don't know if it's true. We just see something may or may not be true, and we don't actually give people the chance to actually act in it. Where injustices exist, we should be acting into that. But like, we got to make sure they actually exist, and not just kind of in our minds or whatever. And so, like, you're going to have to take the step, and then whatever. If it validates what you think, great. You have actionable things. Go to town.
But I would say too that, in as much as like he should make sure that it exists, he should bring the conversation to you. You should also not assume that he's just bringing this up to make a stink. You know what I mean? Like, you should assume
I'm certain of it.
that he's good-hearted about it.
Right.
That he has done his due diligence, not that he's just trying.
I see that. 2 problems. We are limited to his text, the text that he
Right.
provided, and he did choose words. Now, I'm not disagreeing with you actually, but like, that does, I think, bring up the prudent point on how you talk about things. Like, if I want to talk about I would like a different shift, if I certainly open with, hey, you may be discriminating against me, I'm not. That's
You're on
probably
the
not,
defense
it's probably
already.
not the wisest way to
Yeah.
go about that conversation.
I mean, there's only 5 in the office, so everybody knows what's happening.
Right.
I'm wondering, did I read between the lines, or did he actually come out? I mean, he been there longer than everybody, or is he just an older, or he or she
I think he's just
an
an older
person?
employee.
What's that?
He's just an older employee.
So they could have all started the same day, maybe.
Sure.
I'm just thinking, why didn't they? Surely they signed up with some type of agreement, but maybe the manager or whatever came in later. That's quite possible. Or I don't know if that even matters. I just
Yeah.
And are we sure that he didn't bring it already? Like, that he didn't have the conversation, or that he didn't put in a request to?
Based off the fact that, like, the statement he had made was, it seems like I'm not a part of their friend group.
Yeah.
Because I'm 20 years older. That seems more like this is just his observations.
Well,
of
maybe
the,
or
of
it
the
could be
company,
maybe a man
and
like
hasn't actually done any real research or conversation.
And that does happen.
Oh, absolutely.
Or
it does.
maybe-
it's just natural.
No, absolutely.
It's just-
There's naturally, especially with small companies, there are
Yeah.
people that will have favoritism regardless. I mean, it's just part of being a part of a small company too.
Yeah, I was just thinking it could be like a casual conversation, and he says, "Hey, I'd like to work days," and then it's just, "Oh, my guard's down," so I just laugh it off,
Right.
and then everyone else is laughing, and then that might be why it seems part of the friend group.
That's fair.
Yeah, I stick with it. So formalize it. Whatever's going on, you're going to need to formalize. If you're talking about a formal response, then you need to formalize the interaction of what you're responding to. Otherwise, you're
just
batting
have a
at flies.
conversation. Hey, I'd really like to get on shifts, and I'd like it to be more where it's not sided versus the other. Doing form. Hey, it's doing right.
Yeah.
It's literally polar opposites.
Right.
Can we start mixing it a little
And here's
bit?
the thing: is that it's not his place to dictate what other people do.
No.
Like, so what I'm saying is, like, that other people are also on days is not necessarily his deal. He
Oh,
can
that's
say,
true.
"I wish to work days."
Yeah.
But like, it's not his place to go. And I want Steve to have to work 3
Right,
nights
exactly.
too.
I have to switch.
It's
with
not
that
his place.
person. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, just say what you want. Everyone's gone through a work experience. It's happened to me multiple times. Like, you just got to say what it is that you're looking for and give people a chance to respond. Sometimes they'll do it the way you want. Sometimes they won't.
Right.
But like, I'm not being fair to someone unless I've gone through at least some formal means of like, oh, I hope they catch on that I don't like nights. It's not. It just doesn't.
Right.
It can't work that way, guys. You just have
Right.
just say it out loud.
Okay, Secular says most modern human resources departments are bloated and ineffective.
But 5 people work at the
Interesting.
place.
Interesting, Mike.
If you are choosing this as a career path, I suggest you turn around and become a mall Santa.
Interesting. Could one do both? Could one be involved in both the formalized HR and some kind of mall Santa?
Excuse me, I'm not finished.
Oh, sorry. I'm asking a question to Secular. My bad.
No.
You're obviously not just saying these words out loud.
Secular also says, did you fill out a form listing your availability as open or flexible? If so, modify it. If you truly feel you are being discriminated against because of your age, talk to your supervisor's boss about it. If they're unavailable, you can waste your time with human resources, but they are most likely going to ignore your concerns and continue to upper crust themselves.
Wait, how much of that was what they really said?
Almost
50%.
almost
Not the
none of it.
HR.
I was going to say 50%.
Upper crust themselves.
That's where we realized that part was definitely a Mike.
I mean, I'm impressed.
I ran out of gas. I thought I had
Upper crust themselves.
I thought I had something, but I didn't.
They will share the
All
great
right,
coupon.
now what did Secular actually say, Mike?
That was the gist of it. Do you have a form that says you're open or flexible? If you have one, then change it. If not, talk to your Equal Opportunity Employment Committee.
I wouldn't go straight to the EOC.
I mean, just give people. That's what I'm saying. Like, give people a chance to handle it well. If they
Right.
don't handle it well, then take the next step. Absolutely, I'm with you.
Yeah, you shouldn't fill out a form and then if it doesn't get fixed, you go straight to the EOC. Like, maybe actually have a conversation with a manager, HR, anybody.
Let's be humans about this, especially a group of 5 people. Like, this is a very
Right.
human conversation. Let's do that.
If you could remember the name of every single person in your company, I feel like you could have a conversation with
Yeah.
some of them.
You know what, Ted? This ain't working out for me.
It's like, man, I really wish I could fix this. If only 80% of the other company weren't 20 feet away.
If I only had access.
Man, they're faceless, they're nameless up there in corporation. It's,
Upper crusting it.
They're over here.
we have our
on
forms
the
and
time.
upper crusts. It's like, man.
The upper crust
Oh,
office.
man.
All right, you want to do one more?
Yeah, we'll
Okay,
do one
here we
more.
go. Last one. Dear Life from the Path, I'm asking for advice about our daughters-in-law. We have 2 sons whose wives want to spend every holiday with their parents, period. No alternating holidays. That means my husband and I spend the holidays alone, then, quotes, get to have a get-together at a date and time convenient for them.
Mm-hmm.
I know our sons are partly at fault because they are trying to keep peace in their lives. Any suggestions would be appreciated. One daughter-in-law used the excuse that her grandfather's 99 and may not be around forever,
Yep.
to which I replied that I'm 70 and none of us know how long we have. We raised our daughters to respect her in-laws as well as us, and alternates holidays. Please help with this.
No, I'm not going to help.
Nope.
Nope.
You wrong.
You know what though? They just be adults. I mean, just share. Alternate every other year. Figure out a plan and do it. I mean, nobody's going to get them all the time. They are being dorks. They really are.
Thanks, Dan.
I mean,
Yeah. Hey, listen, you guys are being dorks.
you're being dorks. I mean, just share. Go back and forth.
Wait, so you two seem pretty adamantly on they're wrong thing. Are you saying they're wrong for wanting their holidays with
No,
their
of
kids?
course not. I think they're wrong in how. Look at how she presented it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, absolutely. It's catty and hurt.
my son is trying to keep peace because there's a vile shrew on the other side of it.
Yeah, that's
They're partly at fault because they're trying to keep peace in their families.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's a spineless turd who can't really do anything on his own because he makes his own decisions. They make their own decisions as a couple. They will do what they want to do. And so, like, here's the thing. It's just it just sometimes it doesn't work out as you want it to.
Right.
Like you're two people. You
what it is.
The man left you. And became one flesh with somebody else. They will act independently as a couple as they see fit, unless they're saying, "I will never visit you," or "Don't come at all during the holidays." Like, stop fighting over the date. In fact, I know there's a family I know. They've just got like there's a lot of brothers and sisters, a lot of marriages, a lot of cousins, and they're like, you know what? We're just gonna meet like the second week of January.
Yep.
I thought that's great. I heard that this week, and I thought that's fantastic because like, are we really tied to the calendar? Is that really the deal? Right. And so look, maybe the guy is 99. I mean, you're gonna pull rank on a guy that's 30 years older than you because you might die soon. Again, that seems like a real unnecessary wedge. Just take it humbly. Say, look, we'd love to see you whenever you guys can come by. If you can work it out to be here, we'd love that. If not, our doors are open. Week before, week after, anything like that work, that'd be fantastic.
I think too, you could say something like, how about in August, you say, hey, let's have this plan for Thanksgiving. Would you guys like to join us for this plan? So you just try to get in a little bit earlier and
outschedule the 99-year-old.
Yeah, have a specific plan in mind. So, because I think that, I think it could make sense that you want to see your kids on the holidays sometime, rather than at home by yourself alone. And I don't think it's good.
Wait, those are the only two options?
I don't think
Either
it's a
your
good
kids are
family
around?
dynamic to have that kind of resentment kind of brewing.
But there shouldn't be that. Like, that's what I'm saying. That seems very immature to me. Like, it's not either my kids are in town or I'm a lonely spinster. Like, those are not the only two options available.
It's really immature on both sides, though.
Well, I was going to say, though, but there is something about having the holiday, the day of the calendar with your family.
Right.
Like, I don't think there's a problem with making it a deal where it's like, we're going to spend actual Christmas with family A this year, and then actual Christmas with family B next year, and then we'll schedule like a Thanksmas at the end of November or the beginning of December.
Yeah,
or
I just had Thanksmas
January.
myself.
Yeah, we do a Thanksmas every year with my family because there's so many of us, and it's just easier to wrap it. Like, I appreciate you right now.
I'm going to wait it out.
Wrap it up all into one day, and it's like, hey, we're going to do a couple birthdays, and then this is Christmas and Thanksgiving. We're going to eat, and we're going to do presents, or here's a $50 gift card. I won't see you that day. Go get yourself some nice, whatever. Right. And we all recognize we're all adults. We have families. There's like 12 grandkids, and most of us have kids. It's just like, we don't have time for this. We're just going to do our family day.
Right. I just think this person has a little bit of a victim mindset, which is like that this is just happening and I can't do anything, which I think, is a sad place to be, that they think that that they're accommodating for this other family, and I think that is not a good ground for like a good relationship. So I just think maybe they just try something else. Like, try it, see if it will work out in their favor, see if they're willing to keep, or they've just been pushovers.
Well, I don't know. I guess one of my reactions is their attitude probably isn't helping, to be honest.
Right,
like, if this is how they've approached this, I don't know if this is making life any easier for the people who are, like, you obviously have to make decisions on where you're going to go. And so, like, recognizing that you cannot have it every year, I would be gracious about it. Now, I'm not disagreeing that there sounds like there's an imbalance here, and really what it comes down to is you just have two different groups of people who need to try their best to make some accommodations and say, look, I care about you, I I appreciate that you want to see us in this point. We will work to try to do this, like, without putting maybe this is why Mike folded his arms, but like, there is a lot of I think unnecessary stress that people have about trying to get to different families. Like, it's not worth the burn, man. I think that's overdone, and that's why I'm kind of reacting to, like, hey, is it on the day? Like, is it really the day? Like, is that Does it have to be the thing? Because like that's accepting everybody else is pouring into the day. If we poured everything into the 21st and said that's when we're going to do it as a family, it should be just as good. Because it's what you put into it. That's how you thought about it. And so I think there are ways to accommodate this. I think be humble, be gracious, be thankful when you have their company. And I think if you react to them in that way and kind of show them what it looks like to do that, maybe they'll respond in kind. And they will work their best to otherwise meet up with you and want to come visit you, agree with them, and accusing their wives of being harpists or whatever it is that your internal problem. Mike,
You want secular's advice?
did you have any commentary?
Yeah.
Was that? I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
There's way more to whatever the story she's telling. I'm telling you right now, this woman is telling the shade of the story that she wants to tell.
Right.
Frankly, she's probably hard to get along with. Nobody wants to go over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, here's the thing: if you go about that, we're talking blindly to a public masses, right? Which means it's got to be different to my face. But like, if you go about insinuating that my wife is the type of woman that you're describing her as, the odds of me bringing my family over to visit you are low. Like, I flat out will not tolerate that, right? Like, you are a grown adult, and you can, and like Ben's right. I left. You leave your parents' house, and you leave to another person, and that's it. The two are one, and like I will not tolerate like this old, tale as old as time where you're gonna shrew about my wife. Like I cannot imagine I was gonna abide that. And so like if that is your approach to dealing with my family that we're starting and supporting, I mean, yeah, whatever. I come to your place at Christmas time. You get to 24th. You know what I'm saying?
I suppose that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it's pretty easy to say. You're right, when they play the victim fiddle and go, hey, if it's exactly as you say, then yes, this is not fair and things need to be adjusted. But like when you write in under your own precepts and defenses and leave out any part of the story that doesn't make you look glowing, then it's really hard to buy what you're saying. Like it's just, it cannot be that simple. It feels like a really one-sided approach, which makes me think there's other stuff happening.
I will say though, sometimes I feel like the harder to get along with family is the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, so maybe they are the easier to get along with, that they're easier to please, and this other family is more volatile, and so that's why they keep that would be my
You
that was
literally
my
just
first
said
thought.
the opposite of what I said.
I literally did just
and
say
the complete opposite.
Yes.
That never even occurred to me to go to the family that's more quarrelsome.
That was more.
I'm
that was
straight up
my
off.
yeah. That was kind of more my assumption. You probably have better boundaries than I do, and I'm more of a people pleaser.
Right on.
So, there you go.
All right, you ready for secular's advice?
Yeah, let's have it.
Yeah. Let's hear it, old man.
Okay. Secular says. Secular says modern HR departments are bloated. Secular
Mike,
says.
do we need to talk about what I care about?
This happens in many families. I wish I could wave a magic wand and turn your daughter-in-laws into less insensitive, more caring people.
Oh no, are you making that up?
No. No, but I cannot.
Oh.
Your sons are more than partly at fault for not insisting on fairness. Because they're not assertive, the most pragmatic the most pragmatic suggestion I can offer is that you make plans of your own for the holidays that don't include them. The nicest your budget allows.
Oh man.
Yep.
Fightful.
Passive aggressive.
Yep. Passive aggressive.
Yeah, we're not coming
much.
to your Thanksgiving. Check out this one.
Yeah.
We got the rib roast instead of the turkey.
Yeah. Your daughter-in-laws are a couple of hedgehogs and your boys are lighting the loafers.
What the heck?
Your whole family's terrible, but you're great. Spend big money on yourself. Ting.
Sounds like an episode of Everybody Loves Raymond.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome. Yes, it does. It 100% does. Can we go back to the part about the modern HR department?
I didn't-
Is that really-
No.
That felt good.
Boy,
Well,
do you
they are
want to get
global.
involved with something like that? Is that your thing?
I'm actually very interested in getting involved in something like that. It sounds great.
Oh.
Couldn't tell from my discrimination breakdown.
Boy, I didn't see that advice coming. That took a
Right. That was surprisingly harsh and exactly passive aggressive for
Passive
secular.
aggressive.
right. I mean, I get like a soft left, and I get like trying like either. Basically, the variances in our advice are who's responsible for trying to smooth this thing out,
Right.
and who has the more dominant role in smoothing something out. You can go down the middle. You can say, look, the parents should put more effort into it, or the people should put more effort into it. But like that's where our variations is. This woman took a hard left off a cliff. and
She
put
said, "Screw them all.
Yeah.
Go on vacation."
Come on, make your own
Grab
really
your
nice
husband.
Thanksgiving plans.
Thelma
Yeah.
and Louise off the side with your middle finger out.
Yes, that's exactly what it sounded like. That
Right,
was
and
the
it
advice.
doesn't address the problem that she raised in the first place.
Correct,
Like, that
it
she
does
wanted
not.
To,
Hey, are
she
you
wanted
angry?
to hang out with her
Stay
family.
angry.
Yeah, you
But
don't
do it in
need them.
style.
Screw them. Yeah.
Go get yourself a nice new fur coat and show it to him. Like, this is what I can afford. Pay
Yeah.
for food.
Oh, old furry visits me every Christmas. All right, that's terrible. Hey, maybe you disagree with that. Maybe you feel like we've been overly harsh, or too overly sensitive on any of the matters. Use the complaint line 515-517-0085. By the way, Dan, are you 778 blah 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 blah?
No.
Did you? I'm just throwing. I'm just spitballing here. Someone had called the complaint line and said the cool old guy with the beard is my favorite.
Oh, wow.
Hey, I'm not old. That's the problem. Whoever you were, I'm not actually old. I'm 28. So
Maybe that could be. Well, the camera sometimes ages you 10 years, 10, 20 years.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm just saying it doesn't say Dan's name on it. I'm cycling through the people
Wait,
who
but
would
just
make
a
the
text?
comment.
Just a quick text, just a quick check on my phone contacts here. Pastor Dan is under the digits 515. Read it, Ben. What do you have here?
778
Let's not throw the
778.
man's
Yeah.
whole number out on
Zero-
Facebook or on the-
blank 92.
There we go.
Yeah.
See, that was once connected to a pharmaceutical company. And
It's
so
a very illegitimate operation.
I'm not really sure what happened to it.
There was some offshore accounts that went off. It was weird.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
well, that explains it. I stand corrected. I apologize.
They
Dan.
were upper crusting it for a
order
while.
is-
I'll be over for Christmas.
I've heard that rumor about HR people. They're very upper crusty.
They're very upper crusty.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, let's
unfortunate.
let's top this thing off on the best possible
Low church
note.
Presbyterian.
Allie, saddle up on your instrumentation there.
Man, why do you always got to use some kind of weird explanation for grabbing the guitar?
What should I say?
Can't you just say, "Hey, we're gonna play a tune"? You're like, "Giddy up with the horse, grab the pogo stick, throw the axe on your back, grab your backpack, music slingshot,
I don't remember doing
get your 6-string of wingading." I mean, you can't just say it regular. You always got to say something completely ridiculous.
The music slingshot. Hey, says the dude who came up with upper crusting.
Yeah, hold on. I'll do a second impersonation of Ben. Hey, let's hear the sweet vocal tones.
Throw in a concerto, it'll be better.
Yeah.
Doggone it if it's not true.
Full colon.
You just say, "Hey, man, Allie's playing music today. Welcome." But no, you got to get all weird and creepy about it.
You are the dude that introduces the band at the Smoky Downtown Jazz Club. Like, that's totally you.
Yeah. I hope you brought your own brandy because this music is sweet.
Well, shoot, there go my next 3 taglines. I'm gonna have to get some new material. Okay.
Have we given you enough time to grab your guitar by chance?
Yeah. Saddled up.
All right. See, vindicated. All right, playing music like a regular Joe. There. You like that?
You're a big loser.
You are not the father. All right. Okay. All right. Rounding out this rodeo. Let's see. This one's going to be on the spring EP. There's 2 EPs next year. This one's going to be on the spring one.
Yeah, the first one. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. This is called Our God is Compassionate. Now, here's the thing. This is where I feel weird when I say, where did this song come from? Because I think to myself, I should know this. I believe God is compassionate. But is there a specific instance of which this came out of?
I think it came out of seeing how not compassionate I am, and how this talks about, that God is slow to anger, but that it came out of seeing that I'm not, kind of being like how quick to anger I could be with my kids, when they weren't sleeping well with nap time, or if they were whatever, just how quick I could be to snap at them. And, just reminding myself that God is not like that. I should not be like that.
Yeah.
That God's not like that with me, and that if I meditate on that, then hopefully I can be more compassionate to them and to anybody else.
Oh, man. Yeah. Always a stark reminder, like when I realized that God has treated me much better than I've treated absolutely anybody today.
Yes.
All right, sweet. So we're gonna end the show with this. Again, that's Allie Crummy Music at Allie Crummy Music on Instagram. If you just search for Allie Crummy, I'm sure you can find any Facebook or YouTube action that you might be enthralled with. Again, you can check out that I Have Peace video. And you can stream it on wherever legit music is available, so Spotify and such. But buy a copy. And then you can stream it all you want to, but I do want you to buy
Those
a
eight
copy.
people better.
Yeah, got to do it. All right. So let's take this out. Once again, this is Allie Crummy with "Our God Is Compassionate." You're listening to Live from the Path.
I am overwhelmed. I'm short-tempered. I use harsh words sometimes. You are in control. Slow to anger. You speak gently to me. We were born dead. We chose rebellion. We stand condemned in sin. You so loved the world. You chose redemption. You took our punishment for us. Our God is compassionate. Our God is compassionate. Lord, you give us grace instead of wrath. A loving Father deals gently with us. Our God is compassionate. Our God is compassionate. You save me from death. You kept my eyes from tears and my feet from stumbling. Lord, you hear our prayers. Why would you listen? Why would you bend to hear from us? Our God is compassionate. Our God is compassionate. Lord, you give us grace instead of wrath. A loving Father deals gently with us. With strength that can crush us, using restraint. Our God is compassionate.